Hello, friends, and welcome to Empower You 2 podcast. I'm your host, Natasha Paris, and I'm excited because you are in the building with me. You can be anywhere in the world, but you have chosen to be here with me, and I am so humbled and appreciative. Let me tell you about this show. Each and every single week, we continue to empower you to greatness that is truly going to help you, whether you are a person that have experienced a heartbreak, have gone through a divorce, or have endured levels of trauma of any kind, or you're just a person trying to rebuild their life and themselves, and now you are finally ready to live a life full of abundance, joy, and peace, then this show is for you. So with that said, thank you again for being here. I am extremely grateful. I'm excited to be on this journey with you because together we are empowered for greatness. You ready? Let's go. Hey, it's your girl, Natasha Paris, the empowerment strategist, mental health therapist expert, and yes, the emotional healer. I love that. How are you doing today or night whenever you are listening to this podcast episode? I am super excited to be your guide, your host, as we journey on this road to support. Absolutely. But before I jump in, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that 5-star button and provide me with some feedback, because again, whatever you share with me can possibly help someone else. Absolutely. So welcome to episode 89. Yes, episode 89. And the topic of discussion today is stop trying to make it work. God has something better. Ooh, wait, come on now. Stop trying to make it work. God has something better. What does that mean, family? What does that mean? That truly means that you need to stop trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. That is not a good look. We're talking about those individuals who are in relationships with individuals who are not good for them, but yet they try and they try and they try. The person, the significant other, said outright, without hesitation, "You're not for me. I'm moving on." But no, you want to be the person that says, we got to work it out. Let's go to counseling. Listen, my friends, I am not saying that you don't work out the kinks in your relationship. I'm not saying that one bit. But what I am saying is that if you continue, the other person is just present, but not really present, and not trying, because remember, it takes two to make things work. So my friends, I want you to know that it's important for you to evaluate your relationships and do the work. If it is a relationship that has more rewards than things that are not rewarding, right? So we're going to talk about that. And not only this is about relationships, but it's also about jobs. Working for someone and they don't appreciate you. They don't give you your flowers while you are currently employed with them. So yes, let's talk about it. Stop trying to make it work. God has something better. Welcome to episode 89. So my friends, it's important to prioritize your well-being at all times. You know, this is what we talk about always on my Empower You 2 podcast, is that it's important for you to prioritize your well-being as it relates to your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health, right? These are the things that are super important. And so one thing's for sure is that when you prioritize your well-being overall, in any relationship, whether it is an intimate relationship, whether it is a friend relationship, or a relationship with a family member. So let's talk about it. Okay, my friends, one thing's for sure is that we all deserve a strong level of joy and happiness. We know that joy comes from the source, it comes from God first. Of course, we know that. But if you didn't know, now you know. That is your true, stable, and consistent joy. However, when we are living this life, it is important for us to be in a place where we are intentional about who we surround ourselves with. We are intentional about who we allow to be in our circle and what we will allow to happen to us. So let me talk about it, right? As a clinician, as a therapist for a very long time, I have met with thousands and thousands of individuals around, not just the country, around the world, talking about finding peace within themselves, being able to solve difficulties that might be to someone small, but to others really big. And one of the things that I often say is, what is going on in your space? What are you feeling like, and what is going on to make you feel like that, right? We have to get to the root of the problem. We have to uproot the root and build a space where things are going well, and also you feel a level of contentment, right? But this topic, when we talk about, trying to make things work when it is not in the cards, this is not the person, this is not the job, this is not the family member that you should consistently be around. And so continuously trying to make a toxic, yes, I said it, a toxic relationship work. And what does that mean? A toxic relationship. Let me use one of my clients, for example. I had a client that came into my office and we were doing some heavy duty work about her self-esteem, surrounding her self-esteem and her self-image and how she felt about the world outside of herself. And one of the things that were really impeding her growth was the fact that she was involved in a relationship with a young man who consistently talked bad about her in her face. He was not physically abusive, but he was tremendously mentally and emotionally abusive. He would talk over her. He will make her feel like she was always the perpetrator, that she was the one that was always in the wrong and he was always in the right. He did not respect her feelings. He made her feel small. And when she was around individuals that she was familiar with, she was very comfortable. But when he was around, she was like a turtle in their shell. She did not speak. She was afraid that she would say something to irritate him. So it was one of those things. She wasn't able to blossom. She wasn't feeling fulfilled. And more than anything else, she did not feel like she was worthy enough to be with him, right? Like, because he consistently made her feel like she was not the best person to be around. So when we talk about toxicity, what we know for sure is that toxic relationships can have a serious negative effect on your mental and emotional and physical health. So it is often the case, I will often say, and I don't give my clients, advice. What I do is I provide them with recommendations. And I'll say it may be best to consider focusing on you. I don't say end the relationship, because you're not going to have me caught up and you say you told me to leave a relationship. Nope. I will often say you need to focus on you. And sometimes focusing on you does not require you having someone present. So, but for podcast purposes, it may be best to consider ending the relationship. Ending a relationship and focusing on your own self-care and happiness and joy. And you know what I say about joy. Joy is everlasting. Happiness is fleeting, but joy is an inner peace. So remember, you deserve a healthy and supportive relationship in all areas of your life. In all areas of your life. So let's talk about the keys to moving in that direction of moving out of that situation. Because the question is that what and how do I do that? If I know that I'm in a relationship or I'm at a job that doesn't respect me, does not acknowledge what it is that I do, does not give me my flowers today, and only when I'm putting my resignation, that's when they're like, oh, please stay. We'll do this, we'll do that. No, it doesn't have to take all of that. Okay. So what are the keys? Because my goal every time I speak to you is to really get you to the place where you're using actionable steps to help you move out of any type of relationship that does not serve you. The first thing is, my friends, I want you to recognize the signs of a toxic relationship. I'm going to say that again. I want you to recognize the signs of a toxic relationship, whether it's a friend, whether it's an intimate partner, whether it's a job, whether it's a family, whether it's a neighbor. Acknowledge and understand the behaviors and patterns in a relationship that is harmful and unhealthy. How do you do that, my friend? Right? How do you do that? The first things first is you need to line up, write down what does a healthy relationship look like. That's when you will be able to see the opposite of that. So a healthy relationship looks like being honored and being loved. Another one would be, are you respected? Does he treat you like an equal or treat you in a way that makes you smile, that makes you say, wow, I feel respected? We know what those feelings feel like. We do. And so once you identify what a healthy relationship looks like and how you want to be treated, then it becomes easier to give the opposite of that, right? So acknowledging and understanding the behaviors in a relationship that is unhealthy and harmful. Because if he or she is being disrespectful, calling you out of your name, yes, I said it, calling you all kinds of things, putting their hands on you, that is an automatic sign of unhealthiness in a relationship. Or if you're at a job and they are giving your counterparts raises, but choose not to give you a raise for whatever excuse they give you, then that's considered to be an unhealthy relationship. The second thing is, I can't not talk about it, right? We know what all is going on in the media as it relates to Puff Daddy. P. Diddy, the man that wants to keep changing his name. And in the media, this whole thing about how it was alleged that he was domestically abusive. Well, the video showed that it was not just alleged, it actually took place. And I'm not going to use this podcast to talk about, the stuff that's in the news, but I can't help but to talk about it, right? Especially as it relates to being in a toxic relationship that does not serve you and also really can harm you. And in this situation, it was physical harm. There was rape. There was a lot of neglect. It was extremely bad. And so my second point is, I want you to prioritize your safety. If you feel unsafe or in danger, seek help immediately. This can involve reaching out to a friend or family member, a domestic violence hotline, or a local authority. It is so imperative for us to put ourselves first. I understand the cycle of domestic violence, not because I've been through it, no, but because I've counseled many women through it. And one of the things that I often see is them putting their abuser ahead of themselves. And today it stops. It stops. You deserve so much more, so much more. And that person doesn't care about you. They care only about themselves. And if they care only about themselves, you need to prioritize yourself. Always. Okay. The third point is build a support system. Surround yourself with supportive and understanding people who can help you through the transition of moving out of an unhealthy relationship. It is important for you to be around individuals that love and care for you. I've had a client when I made that suggestion and recommendation, and they said to me, Natasha Paris, I do not have anyone that I can trust. I don't have a supportive network. What would you suggest? I would highly recommend that you begin to build your network, whether it is attending a group, whether it is speaking to other moms, and I know you don't want to share your business, but when you have a supportive network of individuals, and they may not necessarily know what you're going through, but they can be that sunshine in the midst of darkness, it motivates you to see and want more. That's my point. Fourth, set boundaries. I cannot stress this enough. It is important for you to clearly communicate to whomever, the person you're in the relationship with, whether it's a family member or a friend, a lover, a coworker, that you will not tolerate that kind of behavior. Because guess what? People will treat you as you will allow them to treat you. People will only do it if you allow it to take place. And it's so often the case where people do not set boundaries, but then get upset when people cross the invisible boundary. So it's for you to make sure that those people stick to it. It is so important for you to get to the place where you prioritize your own well-being. And this podcast is not about being selfish, but it is about being selfish. Oh, girl, did you just say that? I did. It's about you being selfish. Why? Because if you're not selfish with who you are, then how can you give and be loving and unselfish to others? You have nothing else to give. Hear me when I say this. I want you to be in a place where you are doing the greatest of things for you, because then those who love you will begin to see it and will love you even more, because now you are the example of what love is for self. Last, plan your exit strategy. Come on. Plan your exit strategy. If you're living with a person and the person is very unhealthy, plan a safe way to leave that living situation. Whether you are packing a bag and you have it somewhere in a corner behind a bush and you leave and you grab that bag, or you are ready to leave that job. And I often tell people, do not leave a job without having another job. Do not do that. Now, in worst case scenarios, and you're fed up and you can't wait for another job to come to fruition, and you feel like you have to go, still have an exit strategy. Still have that. So it's important for you to plan that out in detail and think of all of the things that could go wrong and have a backup plan. Okay. I may be chuckling, but in certain households and individuals that I'm speaking to right now, it's not a laughing matter, because it's life or death. And so this might involve finding a new place to live, or staying with a friend or a family member, or taking a low-paying job just so you can get off your feet. And the last is seek therapy and counseling. I cannot express this enough. Processing your feelings and your emotions about what took place with an experienced professional will help you get through the transition of moving out of toxicity into something that is amazingly healthy. And so with that said, my friends, let's talk about when we get out, how do we receive what God has in store for us? I often say to my clients, to people that I meet, how can you receive something amazing if you are holding on to something that is not deserving of your time, your energy, as well as your love? Your hands are full. It's hard for you to let go of those things that we love, even though they may not always love us. That's true. But you have to be intentional. So in order for God to give you what you need, in order for you to succeed, you got to let go of those things that are disease. Woo! I think I'm a rapper. Let's go, Natasha Paris. But that's true. So you have to let go. And how do you let go of that? Like I said, I gave you the keys. I gave you the steps. Now, once you let go, God will be so happy to give you what you want because you've made a decision to trust that letting go is better than holding on. I'm going to say that again. Letting go is better than holding on. So as we go into this space of recognizing what is important to us, we have to be in a place where we say, God, you have something better, and that better is better than what I had before because I'm worth it. And so with that said, you know what I say. Let's talk about your homework assignment. Okay, right? And if you're loving this episode and this episode is resonating with you, please leave a comment. And this is going to move into an interactive podcast. And I'm super excited about that because I want to hear from you. I want to hear whether this has really supported you. And also, I want to hear what kinds of topics you would like to talk about as it relates to well-being, emotional wholeness, spirituality, relationships, all of those things that make for a great individual. Okay? So what is your empowerment assignment? Your empowerment assignment is I want you to begin to look at your relationships. And on one category, on one side of the page, the left side, I want you to write down all of the relationships that you have in your life that's healthy. And we know what healthy looks like. Someone that's loving, someone that's respectful, someone that is communicative, someone that is, giving, someone that is looking to receive and is not selfish as well, but they receive with the intention of it being reciprocated, right? So write down all of those healthy relationships. And then on the other side, on the right side of that page, write down all of those relationships that are unhealthy. When you write down those names, I want you to be really honest with yourself. Write down all of those names and then begin to, on the next page, write how are you going to move out of that relationship. Because with family members, you can love them from a distance. You don't have to completely cut them off. Well, some family members you might have to because they're so toxic. Right? So write down what is it that you would like to see in that relationship. In addition, write down the plan of action to leave and do you. Yep, absolutely. Do you with God ordering your steps. Because what we know for sure is that God is our foundation and God is the one that allows us to move in directions of purpose if we trust. So with that said, let's go over quickly summarize. What are the keys to or the steps to helping you move out of a toxic relationship? We've defined what a toxic relationship looks like. So the first thing is recognize the signs of a toxic relationship. Number 2, prioritize your safety. Number 3, build a support system and surround yourself with supportive people who love you. 4, set boundaries and clearly communicate what you will and will not tolerate, and stick with it. Number 5, plan your exit strategy. Decide how you're going to leave that relationship or how frequently you're going to be around that person. And then, of course, 6, seek therapy and counseling from a professional. Make sure that they are supporting you as it relates to you expressing your feelings and emotions so you can eventually heal from that toxic relationship. And I want you to remember, my friends, it's okay to prioritize your well-being. It is so okay, more than okay, and putting yourself first. Because if you do, then you can really look at a level of peace, joy, and happiness. You deserve to be in a healthy and positive relationship. We all do. We all do. We all deserve to be in a positive, healthy relationship without the stress, without the drama, without all of those things that weigh you down from moving towards your goals, actually obtaining your desires and being the best version of yourself. So with that said, I am your girl, Natasha Paris, and I'm super excited to have been your guide. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, or you want to share how this resonated with you, please go to your favorite platform and ask those specific questions, and we'll support you. Okay, so with that said, I want you to be what? I want you to be empowered for greatness, because without greatness, there's no you. And without you, there's no greatness. See you in the next episode. Bye.